and welcome to Nurse Amy on YouTube. Thank you to my returning subscribers. I've missed you guys. How are you doing? How's everything going with you? I got some letters from some of you. Thank you so much. One of them is Annabelle. Annabelle, thank you. You are amazing. Thank you for writing, and thank you because you said my inspirational cookie points actually have got you moving in the right direction. I'm curious to know what direction that is, so feel free to share with me. But thank you, Annabelle. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Again, this is a channel and a forum where we talk about everything CNA and beyond. Healthcare, the CNA life, healthcare workers, studying tips, inspirational talks, and so on and so forth. So I have started to do a series that actually targets students in my class, and I'm sure it targets other students in other classes. It could be in nursing school and you've had some kind of training before and it's just impeding your growth and impeding your moving forward in class. So this series is called Lose That Luggage. And today we're going to talk about people who have been working in the healthcare sector. So nursing assistants, current and past nursing assistants who have been doing this for years. They work as nursing aides, and so when they come into the classroom, they struggle. So before we go into it, please remember to click the subscribe button. Make sure you also click on the bell right next to it so it dings every time I upload my video. And let's get the subscription going. Thank you guys, I appreciate you. Who's somebody else I was actually going to give a shout out to? I was going to give a shout out, so I gave a shout out to Annabelle. And there's somebody else also. His name is Tony. Hey Tony, how are you? I told you I was going to talk about you on my channel. And what Tony told me was he knew that I was going to be talking about nursing assistants that are old in the field. Tony has been doing this for, I think, about 5 years. And he said going into nursing school, he struggled. He worked as a nursing assistant, and now he's starting his nursing school, and it's been a struggle for him. So Tony, thank you for sharing that with me. Again, you can write to me directly at nurseamyacademy@gmail.com. And I give shout outs if you're willing. Sometimes they don't even know. I just give it like, yeah, I love this person. But just like Tony said, it's something that also happened to me when I went for my RN. I struggled. So Lose That Luggage series also applied to me in a certain way. I had to transition from being an LPN to an RN. And a lot of the times when you're given scenarios, the way you would react or respond or intervene in those scenarios are totally different from the way you would do it or the way you expected to answer those questions. And that's what Tony is struggling with now. Yeah. Let me give you an instance. Say, I think one of the skills we do is abdominal thrust. You know, literally it's choking, or the Heimlich maneuver. We don't call it the Heimlich maneuver anymore. We call it the abdominal thrust. So one of the things you have to do is, first of all, you have to identify 2 universal signs of choking, and then you have to ask if the person is choking. And this always makes me roll my eyes because I'm thinking, clearly they're grasping their throat, they're losing color in their face, or they're mouthing something, or even trying to cough or coughing. Clearly that person is choking. Now I have to ask if they are choking. I mean, that is redundant. That is a moot point. So imagine when you're asked that in an exam, in a written examination, or even in your skill in case of a CNA. The first thing you're doing when you're out in the field is you're calling for help. You're running to do stuff. You're forgetting all those steps. However, in this skill, the time that you would ask for help is when they have admitted to you that they're actually choking, and you get up and you start to yell help. Well, in the real world, that's not how it's done. You're going to yell help first. You're going to like, choking, help, I need assistance. And then you put all the things in motion. So those were the kind of things I will kind of have to pause and have to rethink book world. So that's what Tony's going through. Tony's worked as a CNA. And now going into nursing school, for him is the skills. It's the answering questions like this. So Tony, thank you for sharing it. And this series, would help you, I'm hoping, because this is part of my experience. So the first thing is you need to know why you're there, why you're in the classroom. In your case, Tony, you're there because you're going into nurse, you want to be a nurse. So that's paramount. That's the first thing that has to always be in your mind, in your brain. And every time you're thinking, well, this is what I need to do. I need to get from point A to point B. And there's a line, is a process. So for me to get from point A to point B, this is what I need to do. And part of it is listening in class and retraining your brain to think book world. Because I can tell you, I can promise you for free, if you put answers from work world, from what happens out in the field, in your classroom work, you're going to fail. You're not going to make it. I'm assuring you, that is the fastest way you can fail. But we don't want you to fail. I definitely don't want you to fail. So please listen to me. You've got to lose that luggage of your past experience in the field. You've got to lose it. Your past experience in the field is going to mess with you. And I see it happen to nursing assistants. Oh God, yes. Nursing assistants will come and they'll tell you, oh, well, when I do this, I have gloves on. And that's fine. When you do it outside of the classroom, it's okay. And there's no one watching you. I tell people this, the only time when book world and work world kind of meet in the work world is when state comes around, when there's someone watching you. Then you remember, oh, well, I've got to do it by the book. Now, we should always do it by the book, but then that's not realistic, is it? But then we're not going into that. So that's what happens. And you find in most places when the state is coming around, they actually do an in-service. I have been called in to do in-service before. And it's just to remind people, hey, look, when these people come around, this is what they want you to do. Do not forget. And I'm actually even teaching nurses. Again, with the glucometer, what you need to do, how you have to wipe it with alcohol, and you wait 5 minutes and you have to use different one. Now in real life, do we do that? No. So I not only teach CNA, which I'm a trained instructor for, but even I have had to train nurses. So again, you need to lose the luggage of past work experience. It's going to impede your growth. It's going to impede your performance. And when I say impede, I mean is a barrier. It's going to stop. It's going to work against you. That's what I mean by impede. IMPEDE. Okay, it's going to stop you from getting the grades you want. Who doesn't love good grades? It sometimes outrightly fail you. And I've had people struggle. And then I also have people come into class thinking that they're doing everybody else a favor but themselves. Now that's the one I don't get. So there are two sectors of students. There are those who are coming, I shared it before when I did the first part of this series, where you have those that are very green. They're doe-eyed and starry-eyed. They've never been in healthcare. They're just doing this either to go into nursing school, like in the state where I live in. They need to go through the CNA program. It's part of the requirements to go into nursing school. And then you have those that are just coming into healthcare. They want to maybe take it step by step, start with the CNA program first, wet their feet, see if there's something they like. And I've had people do that. I've had students come back to me and say, I don't think the CNA is for me. I want to go back and do cosmetology. I actually have a student who did that. That's fine. So you have people like that. They've never been in healthcare. When she first came on, she'd never been. I mean, she worked as a healthcare, a CNA. She didn't like it, probably due to, well, she did tell me. She told me why, but she was just cut out for it. And that's fine. So you have those, and they're willing and ready, and they want to learn. They're actually interested in what's going on. They find it fascinating. And then you have those who are lugging around this heavy load on their head or on their back as a backpack because they're being weighed down by past training, which I did an episode on, so you might want to watch that, and past work experience as a nursing assistant. They've worked in the healthcare field, either as a home health aide, either as a PCT, or as a nursing assistant in a nursing home. But so they come in thinking, well, I really don't need to be here. I know everything they're teaching here. So I'm just here just to get my papers signed so I can go back to work. Well, good news for you, or maybe not so much good news. Just get with the news. The news is, reality is, there's a reason why you're in the class. You are in the class because, number one, it's not a favor to anyone, actually. It's a favor to you. You're doing you. It's not a favor to your boss. Because the thing is, if you don't go through the program, you won't have a job to go to. That's why they sent you here and they paid for it. Or maybe that's why you're here, because you can't find work, because you are not up to par. So when nursing assistants come into the classroom and they have that attitude of, oh, I don't need this training. Yes, you do. Because no one's going to sign your paper and give it to you free if you really have not trained and understand what the basic training is about. Now, you might have been doing this for years, and that's true. I believe you. No one is disputing that. You're just doing it wrong. You have to pass the state test. You just have to come up to par to what is expected of you, at least the bare minimum. You've been doing it wrong. And that's why your workplace has sent you over here to get some brush up, bring you up to par. Basically, that's what it is. It's either that or you're coming from a different state and it doesn't matter what your training is. It doesn't matter that you've been doing this for 50 plus years. It's obsolete now. Nobody cares. Now, does it seem, am I sounding like I am being mean? Actually, I'm not. I'm just trying to put things in perspective for you. Because sometimes there's such a thing as tough love. And sometimes I've had to employ that. Because I have had students like, I don't need to do that. When I'm doing this, and this is the things they struggle with. Sometimes they're working with a mannequin. And because when you work in the nursing home, especially those from the nursing home, and not just mannequin, you have a patient in bed. Because they're so used to working with people that are termed complete, meaning they're bedbound, they're dead weight, they can really help themselves. So you find the students doing exactly what you do when you have like 20 plus patients you need to take care of. You're not even giving them a chance to do what they need to do. You need to change them in bed. You need to do this. They're holding on to that patient and they're using one hand and moving with their, it's funny. I'm trying to describe it. They're holding on to the patient, the actor in bed or the mannequin, and they're using their free hand to do everything else, and they're moving their leg. And I'm like, I've taught you an easier way to do things. You don't have to struggle like that. Free a working space for you. Use both hands. So those are certain things they struggle with. And you find also when they're doing skills, and that's something, guys, please, I've told my students this. Only do the skills you're asked to do. Do not go there and again, they just go into work mode. because it's a past work experience. So that just clicks it. It's so interesting when I see my students do this. And it only almost always happens to those that work in the field. And they just go into work mode. They start to, you're doing partial bed bath. That's what we do in this state. We don't do full bed bath. And they're changing them, and the next thing they're going to their feet and they're trying, I'm like, you're doing 2-3 skills now. They want to change, they want to slap on an adult brief on them. And I'm like, so I find I have to take extra time to work with these people as long as they're willing to work, because some don't. And I have had to redirect people very sternly in my class, especially when I find it's starting to disrupt and also derail the understanding of the others. Because I will tell you this, when you leave the classroom, when you leave my class and every other CNA program there, or any school, what you're going to find is when you're not actively with the other classroom people, because you're not going to be with them when you're studying, you're going to find that you're going to be by yourself, and everything that happens during that classroom, anything that happens there, because visually a lot of us do, it stays in our brain. All the things that we've learned, it stays in our brain. So when you're by yourself, you're going to remember the wrong thing that Anita did. You're going to remember the wrong thing that, Ben did. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm very, very, I guide my students, especially those that are so, it doesn't even matter if you've had a work experience. I don't even want you getting more confused. So a lot of time, because I give my students wiggle room when I teach, because I even learn from my students, I didn't think of that. That might be a good way, because I'm teaching you the skill. I'm teaching you the technique of the skill. So when I see them do certain things, I'm like, that could work. I like that. Let's try that. Because again, life is a learning process. Granted, in the classroom, I am the registered nurse. I'm the one who's been trained to teach the class, but I'm also learning from my students. There's certain things they've done. There's certain skills they've brought on. I'm like, I like that. If we can make that work, let's see how we can make that work and make it fast and work for us. And if I think, oh, no, this is way out in the left field, then I just tell them, no, this will work. And then I redirect and I reteach it. So everyone remembers that I redirect it, because it helps. I don't want anyone to fail people. Why would I want that? So you find that I find those that have past work experience, some are currently working as nursing assistants, and I tell them, I'm going to work with you. And I do work with them. And some have gone on to really excel, like Tony here. Tony, thank you for writing. It is a struggle. It can be a struggle. But it can even be a bigger struggle if you make it so. If you have a willing instructor like me, because not all instructors really care. It's like, you know what, just you take care of yourself. I don't need the stress. But I try to work with people. I really do. I try to work and make sure you get it. I teach you the technique of the skill because I want you to get it. I want you to pass. Because your success story is my success story. Your stories is, I love it. I want to be a part of your success stories. And so there have been students who have been stubborn and who have actually been resistant, and I've had to check them. I've had to redirect them, and now we're great friends. And they're grateful. They're like, oh my goodness, Amy, thank you. I'm like, I didn't even know I had that patience, but I don't like to see people struggle. And when I see they're genuinely struggling, but they want to learn, it's if you come off like, I don't need this, I'm just here doing you all a favor, then we have a problem, because you're not doing me a favor. You're not doing the other people in the classroom a favor. No, it's you. You need your job. You need a means of livelihood. If you're not doing what you're doing, you won't have a job. So let's keep it real, okay? Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100, okay? You're not doing anyone a favor. I mean, seriously. And some people also come in, like you have in the class, you have different ages, so you have all these young ones, they don't know anything. You don't too. Not enough to be adequate or up to par. Clearly you don't. That's why you are in the classroom. I would say that. Bring it back to the classroom. So please lose that luggage of past work experience. It could be past work experience or current work experience, but it's all past work experience because you have been touched. That's what I tell them. You've been touched. You've been adulterated. You have been corrupted. That's why your work found it necessary to have to ship you back to a nursing program, a CNA program, so you can get it right. That is why the state where you're in is not going to give you a license because they need you to get back in the classroom and get it right. So we are doing you a favor. It's just something that, and I tell them that. First thing when I come into my class is I'm asking my students by show of hands who works as a CNA, who has been in the healthcare sector. So that just tells me, okay, I know my work is cut out for me by the number I have. And the first thing I tell them is lose that luggage. Lose that luggage. Is not helping you, is not helping me, is definitely not helping the other students. You got to lose it. I don't even want it at my front door. I don't want it at the front door of the classroom or the lab. I don't, if you can have it in your car, lock it up. I don't even want to see it in the parking lot. Keep it in your house. Or better still, just keep it where you work. They're two different worlds. They are two different worlds. Work world, book world. Work world, book world. And that's something I'm going to talk about, shed more light about. And if you have any tips, you have any stories to tell, to share, please come on. Let's talk about it. I really welcome input. I welcome, you have your own ideas, things. What have you struggled with coming into class? I struggled going into RN program. I did. Because especially for me, it was more the classroom thing where your thinking now is more, you got to think how to answer. You got to retrain your brain on how to answer questions. Those are things you need to do. And I'm hoping this camera is still recording. And I'm hoping it is, because I'm just talking now because I see low battery. And I don't want to have to redo this. God, please. So please write to me as usual, nurseamyacademy@gmail.com, which you love to do. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at nurseamyacademy. Please tune in to my podcast it's Nurse Amy Online. And please keep coming back here. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Share my videos to all those that not just CNAs, but nursing students, your colleagues at work. The things that I talk about here is much more than CNA. So you never know what's going to help people. The letters I get, and I try to always read about letters from people that are not even, these people have talked about that I shared today, they're not even people I know. They just wrote to me. So I like that. Thank you so, so, so much from the bottom of my heart. I am absolutely grateful. So until I come your way again, remember you're the only one who can limit yourself. It will be a waste of time to do so. So lose that luggage. Any luggage that is heavy is just dragging you down. It's counterproductive. It's an enemy of progress. You can't progress with that. You really cannot. Remember, I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm always cheering you on. I want you to succeed. So share your stories with me. It means a lot to me. And please keep coming back for more. I've got a lot to share with you. So catch you on the next episode. Be safe, be kind, be blessed.